What if the person you trusted with everything suddenly revealed everything on national television? That's exactly what happened. Mendeecees Harris. You are correct that Mendeecees was caught on camera confessing the unimaginable. The man who remained. By Yandy through thick and thin is now enraged on the internet after a leaked video purports to show him saying, "I did sleep with her, but that ain't my kid." Who is she? Is this a moment of pure honesty or a last-ditch effort to hide his tracks? The confession is untidy, the timing is strange, and the damage is terrible. Oh, you already know that it's Erica Mena. Fans claim that she has only brought havoc and unexpected turns into their life. And now that the receipts are public, the side-eye's Instagram hue, hold on tight, because this isn't just a romantic triangle, it's a public breakdown captured on camera in 4K, and no one is leaving. Tidy, when Mendeecees did speak at last, did he tell the truth or fabricate a more elaborate lie? Let's get started and have faith in this tiny boiling dot. Nobody anticipated the moment that would blow up every timeline, group chat, and fan forum on the internet, that it was meant to be just another dull day on set with lights, cameras, and maybe a little cast drama to liven things up. Mendeecees Harris, the man who had previously been commended for being Yandy Smith's rock, had his reputation completely destroyed in a matter of seconds after a blurry 15-second bit of footage surfaced without anyone formally posting it. The herper, who was obviously Erica Mena Yandy's longtime friend and chaos incarnate, was sitting alone in a dimly lit room with quiet eyes and a low voice. "I did sleep with her, but that isn't my kid," she said, and her words hit like a brick through a reality TV screen. Fans have accused her of stirring the pot whenever the ratings dropped, but now she wasn't stirring tea. Instead, she was dropping bodies and men. He simply handed her the weapon, and the internet went viral, with clips of the video going viral on Twitter. Within minutes, TikTok and Instagram fan pages crashed, memes went viral, and everyone had an opinion. But nobody had the whole picture because this wasn't just a man cheating. It was a man confessing on camera that he might have destroyed his marriage, his family, and his reputation in a single ruthless sentence, and Yandy crickets. Not a tweet, not a post, just silence that screams louder than words. But let's go back a moment, because this wasn't an unexpected incident. Rather, it was a slow leak that had been building for months. According to insiders, Yandy and Erica's tension began to simmer long before the cameras began to roll. Off script and far too real. But the real killer one day, Erica allegedly entered production without permission and left a sealed envelope containing the producer's DNA results on their desk. She claimed nothing and simply left it there before leaving as if she were delivering a cold, calculating, vicious lunch order. At first, the staff believed it was a stunt, another of Erica's notorious TV moments. But then, as if on cue, Mendeecees stopped answering calls and vanished from the set. Yandy appeared but refused to record since something was OFF, and the producers became alarmed that this wasn't merely a plot point. What they did was corner him with no cameras, no
something off my chest. Then he dropped it, no emotion, no fluff, just the raw truth. "I did sleep with her, but that ain't my kid," allegedly. He even added that Erica had been bitter that she wanted to hurt you and that the timeline didn't make sense. But all anyone remembers is the core message. He admitted to crossing that line, and then he vanished again, but the tape didn't, because somehow it leaked, and that's when everything exploded. Now let's talk Yandy for a second, because this woman has stood by Mendeecees through everything: jail time, family drama, public shade. She fought for this man like her life depended on it. So imagine finding out not through a conversation, not through an apology, but through a leaked video on the internet that the man you love might have fathered a child with your enemy. Imagine the humiliation, sources say. Yandy locked herself in her trailer for hours, no glam, no filming, just her phone refreshing her feed, watching the world learn her business before she could even process it. And it wasn't just the cheating, it was the lie, "That ain't my kid," a denial so loud it echoed across every fan page, every Reddit thread, every tabloid headline. But here's the twist: Erica never denied the DNA. In fact, she posted something so cold and mysterious, it made things 10 times messier. The truth is whispered rather than shouted, and it finally surfaces with Receipts, girl. If that isn't a power move, we don't know what is, and let's not forget the production stress, which makes you believe that this disaster sort of helps a reality program but also puts everything at risk. Contracts, shooting schedules, cast safety, and insiders claimed that producers immediately began damage control, holding meetings, calls, and even threatening legal action because, if that video leaked, what else might the network want? The fans wanted blood, and the cast wanted out, but Erica, oh Erica, wasn't done. She showed up again, this time to a dinner shoot where she wasn't even invited, looking unbuckled and walking straight to the table like she owned the set. You could have cut the tension with a knife, but guess what? She didn't say a word until she sat down and smiled across the table like they were old friends, at which point Yandy calmly but deadly dropped the line that sent shockwaves. I don't need champagne, Hugh. Producers muttered in their headsets. As security leaned in, and Erica simply sipped her water and remarked, I already did, it's not my fault if some people can't handle it. In the midst of the chaos, the fans were left wondering if Mendeecees was telling the truth or was merely trying to save face because that one sentence, I did sleep with her, but that ain't my kid, doesn't erase what happened. The game set match. Did that dinner scene, which, by the way, wasn't even supposed to, and it turned into a full-on showdown. Erica stood her ground, and Yandy stood up. There were no punches or chairs, but the words cut deep. It certainly doesn't repair the harm, nor does it unbreak Yandy's heart. The rest of the cast sat motionless, not daring to interrupt when you could literally feel the betrayal crawling off the table and into every camera lens in the room. Yandy said, you could have told me before you told the world, but you could hear her voice cracking under the weight of the scene. Erica had just unloaded on national TV, and the air was thick ATK that dinner shoot, it wasn't dinner anymore, it was a war zone disguised by candlelight and napkins. I tried, Erica said in a tone that was colder than Harlem winter, but you weren't paying attention. That was it. All of the suppressed emotions and passive-aggressive side eyes from the previous season were released in real time, and guess who wasn't present? Mendeecees, the man at the core of the chaos, wasn't there. Rumors circulated that he had been seen leaving the set that morning, hiding behind a hoodie and refusing to speak to production. He knew the storm was coming, so he ducked before the thunder hit. Back inside the studio, producers hurried to break up the scene, security intervened, and the cast members retreated, but the cameras continued to roll because this wasn't just a fight anymore, this was history, this was betrayal, and this was ratings. One makeup artist claimed that Yandy sobbed for almost an hour in her trailer, but not the loud, dramatic sobs you'd expect, not the kind that come from betrayal so personal that it doesn't even make noise. Gold. Later that night, behind closed doors, the fallout started to settle, or so people thought. She was a wreck. Simply silent destruction. Even though Yandy was in pain, she refused to be portrayed as the weak one. The following morning, she strode into production with her eyes swollen and her heart broken, saying, set up the interview, but I'm doing it my way. She had told one assistant, I built everything around him, and he had responded with silence. The producers didn't dispute that she had earned that right. They gave her the same chair that Erica had used, the same lighting, and the same camera angle, but nothing about it felt the same. The air in the control room was dead silent, and she started speaking steadily. I gave everything to this man, and now I'm learning about this the same way you all did online. I had my doubts, I saw the signs, but I never in a million years thought he'd betray me with her. She didn't say Erica's name once, but she didn't have to. She paused for a moment, stared into the camera, and said, I don't even know if the child his. I don't know what's real anymore, but what I do know is that I deserved better than this circus. And when she said it's circus Hugh, that one word was explosive because it perfectly captured the essence of what was now a public display of heartbreak, lies, and broken loyalty. Meanwhile, Erica bothered, showing up the following day looking like a fashion editorial, with perfect curls, a leather trench, and iced-out bracelets that shone under studio lights. As soon as she entered, she declared, I'm ready for my solo. Producers didn't even need to ask what that meant because she entered the confessional set as if it were her show, sat down, and explained everything. I never wanted this to come Out like this, she said, smoothing her dress, but when you carry a secret for this long, it starts to carry you. She then took out the envelope containing the DNA results, not flashing it or waving it around, just holding it. He asked for this because he needed to know, and then he still claimed he wasn't prepared to tell her. She looked directly into the camera and said, "So I did, and I'm not sorry, Mike. You all think this is about hip-hop and love, but it's really about a baby, and that baby deserves the truth no matter how ugly it is." Drop Erica said she wasn't trying to ruin a marriage or steal anyone's man, but she was trying to protect her child. Her voice cracked just enough to let us know the true feelings were bubbling just beneath the surface, but here's the plot twist. Everyone was not prepared for men's calls, so the producers called the man of the hour, who, when things got messy, wanted to speak alone on camera. At first, the team wasn't sure if he was trying to control the story or spin it, but let's face it, they weren't going to say no right now, so they set up the same room. The Mendeecees entered the room in the same chair, under the same cold lights. Without a hoodie, a smile, or an entourage. When the red light came on, he began to speak, and I remained silent because I was at a loss for words. He acknowledged, "I thought if I waited long enough it would blow over, but that only made it worse." His voice was shaky, and his face looked exhausted, like a man who hadn't slept in weeks. "I did mess up," he said. "Finally I did cross that line. And for a long time, I told myself that it wasn't a big deal because it was only once, but once is all it takes." He looked into the camera as if he were staring into Yandy's eyes, and I should have told her that I should have been a man and owned what I did, but I was afraid of losing my family, so I told Erica that I'd handle it. She waited until she didn't, and then came the moment that broke the set. I didn't believe the test results, so I took another one discreetly behind everyone's back to make sure that everyone froze another test, and not even the producers knew there was a second one. Mendeecees' voice broke as he continued, "That child is mine." You could hear a pin drop. Those 4 words struck like a wrecking ball, and they weren't slow and dramatic. Instead, we were talking at full speed and without warning. Tear the house's roof off. The team behind the camera was stunned, the producers were motionless, and even the editor in the booth had to take off his headphones for a while to catch his breath. Mendeecees had confessed it on camera, with no pretense, denial, or slick justification. He sat back in that chair as if the air had been sucked out of him, and this time he was quieter. He said, "The worst part wasn't the cheating, it wasn't even the child, it was the silence. I let Erica carry this on her own, and I told myself that was better than facing what I did." His once sharp and confident eyes looked almost hollow. "I wasn't trying to live a double life, I was just trying to keep the one I had from collapsing, but all I did was break it faster." The camera continued to roll, and he didn't cry or beg, he just told the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts more than the lie ever did. Back in the production office, nobody knew what to do. Erica's unfiltered confession had already been altered. Yandy's tear-stained interview was on a hard drive, and now it was a story rather than just a scandal. When the leak came out, social media went crazy. Fans had been guessing for weeks, but then there was Mendeecees' voice, face, and full-blown, uncensored truth footage. They went viral in a matter of minutes. "I did sleep with her, but that wasn't my kid. Hold on, I took another test. Bro, played DNA roulette and lost twice," one user wrote on Twitter. "Yandy should have left him at test 1 with one Instagram on fire," commented another. YouTube and TikTok are overflowing with edits, comments, and mashups set to dramatic music. To put it simply, reaction videos were already surpassing 1 million views, but the person who everyone was most interested in, Yandy, had vanished. No postings, no declarations, no enigmatic quotations, simply silent. The same quiet Mendeecees, which had previously served as a shield, was now Yandy's weapon until the production team received a notification. She will return without any pomp or drama. This time, she didn't go to her trailer. Instead, she went straight into the confessional room with a hoodie over her head, sneakers on, and unreadable eyes. I heard everything she said as she stared into the camera as if it were Mendeecees himself. "You say you were afraid, but what you did was already the loss." She paused, "And you think the lie hurts, but it's the delay, the waiting, the insult of hearing the truth after the rest of the world has." She claimed she wasn't angry that he messed up. Rather, she was angry that he allowed her to stand next to him and ride for him while he was sitting on the truth. You watched me cry, and you said nothing, and then came the twist that made everyone backstage lean in. You want to know if we're done? Her question was, no, we're not done. She went on, we're not done being married, we're not done being parents, despite the gasps behind the camera. But we are done pretending everything's perfect. She said she didn't know what the next step was, but she knew one thing: I'm not staying quiet, not for you, not for this show, and definitely not for the brand. That's when it shifted. This wasn't about damage control anymore, this was a woman reclaiming her narrative, the control room cheering, some even crying. It wasn't just reality TV anymore, this was reality period. But hold up, it gets messier, it gets messier. Erica watched the episode before it aired, and surprise, surprise, she had one more bombshell to drop. She texted the producers, give me one final word, just one. She walked in 2 days later, no cameras, no full setup, just an iPhone and a single mic. And what did she say? You can call me the villain, that's fine, but don't forget who gave y'all the truth first. Then she stood up and left. No goodbye, no final shot, just that line like a dagger dipped in glitter. And now here we are, the reunion is coming, the audience is buzzing, and the internet is still processing what just happened. But behind all the glam and gossip, the heart of this saga is something way deeper: truth, lies, timing, and the cost of silence. Although broken, Yandy is not defeated. Here's the question for you: was Mendeecees brave for finally owning it, or just a coward who got cornered? Did Yandy handle it with class, or should she have left for good? And was Erica protecting her truth, or taking advantage of someone else's? Mendeecees exposed and exhausted Erica, but he was unbothered but complicated, and the child at the center of it all is still waiting for a world that will stop treating him like a headline. If you believe that the second DNA test changed everything, leave a comment if you're on Team Yandy, Team Erica, or Team Nitrogen Monoxide. Don't forget to subscribe, as this was only one chapter. Please share your thoughts in the comments. This isn't the place for silence, it's the place for truth.